I think that curveball that Becky threw over to you.
Good evening, everyone. This is the Common Council meeting for Tuesday, January 11th of 2022. First meeting of the year. Call the meeting to order. All the members are present. I will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item C is the public comment period. This time the council president will recognize members of the public who have indicated a desire to address the council. On recognition by the council president, persons may address the council, first stating their name and address. The council may act on emergency matters introduced by members of the public. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak tonight? Any members of the public? Third time? Okay, moving on to item D, approval of the minutes of the December 21st, 2021 regular meeting. I have a motion from Mr. Fire, approve, and a second by Mr. Fisher. Is there any discussion of the minutes? Seeing none, please vote. Yes. Quentin?
Yes.
And that motion passes. Item E is staff updates. An introduction of Nikki Anderson, event and programming coordinator, introduced by Justin Casperson, Parks and Recreation.
And no, I'm not Justin Casperson or Nikki Anderson. I apologize. Justin and I may have had our wires crossed. Perhaps I didn't communicate what he thought I was saying. I thought they were going to be here tonight. But just to let you know, Nikki has now started officially as of January 1st in her role with the city. She continues to do event and programming for Wenzel Family Plaza. She's done an outstanding job for the last 3 years or so, but now she's a city employee operating out of the 2nd Street Community Center. So maybe we'll be able to get her back here. I think you know her. She's been here before when the discussion was being held about making that a staff position. But if you see her, welcome her to city employment.
Thank you, Nikki.
Item F is the council president's comments, and I have no comments this evening. Item G is council comments. Are there any council comments? Mr. Witzel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I read a rather strange headline that I want to make sure I clarify. Last week, Tuesday, the Finance Budget Personnel Committee met. One of the things we discussed was potentially collecting vaccination status of employees. WAOW that night ran a headline that says City of Marshfield Committee denies proposed city employee COVID vaccination requirement. That was not discussed. Those who skim headlines probably found that to be very misleading. Those who read first paragraphs, where it goes on to say, Marshfield's Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee heard a proposal to require COVID-19 vaccines for certain city employees Tuesday night. Again, very misleading. I'm quite disappointed with WAOW and the way they handled this. I was very surprised when I was awakened with Wake Up Wisconsin, or whatever they call that show, and heard that news clip. We did not discuss mandatory requirements for vaccinations for city employees. We discussed potentially collecting vaccination status. So for all those that are up in arms or concerned with that headline, please be aware that that is a very misleading headline and a very misleading article. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I saw that that clip right about 10 o'clock news that night, and I became quite incensed about it, very angry about it, as you are. However, I was reminded by an old senator that I worked for, never get into an argument with somebody who buys his ink by the barrel. So essentially, I will let it fall. I don't think I'm going to do anything about it. I'm not going to write him a nasty letter or anything else. Just let it be known that they can't be trusted, period.
Are there any other council comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item H, reports from commissions, boards, and committees. Any report? Move on to item number I, consent agenda. You have the consent agenda before you. Mr. Hendler, your motion. Second by Mr. Wagner. Are there any comments or questions on the consent agenda? Seeing none, please, the motion is to approve, please vote. Yes.
Yes.
The motion carries. Moving right along here. No items were removed from the consent agenda, so item K is a presentation of the future plan for advanced manufacturing, engineering, technology, and apprenticeship center at Midstate Technical College, introduced by Josh Miller, Development Services Director, and presented by MSTC representatives. Josh, go ahead.
Good evening, and thank you. And I've assured Alderman Buckey that I will not be doing the presentation. It'll be a good one. With us tonight, I have President of MSTC, Dr. Shelley Mondyke, and she will be talking about the Advanced Manufacturing, Engineering, Technology, and Apprenticeship Center that will be a future location in central Wisconsin. We know that workforce is a desperate need in the area and all throughout the country, but MSTC has been at the forefront of training future employees in this area. And this is an exciting project, and we thought this would be a good opportunity to bring this forward to the council and to the public. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Mondyke.
Good evening, everybody. We'll just put that down just a little bit, right? Hopefully everybody received a folder, just so we can refer that, and we'll make sure that you have this electronically as well for anybody that would need it that's not with us tonight. But we really appreciate just coming in to provide some information on really an exciting project that we have going on and how that's going to affect the Marshfield area, hopefully. But I also thought I would just take the liberty to tell you a little bit what's going on at Midstate and a little bit of what's going on here locally for our Marshfield campus, because we are so proud of that. I do have three other Midstate people that I want to make sure that I call out tonight. Bobby Damrow, and Bobby, if you want to stand, and we've got Deb Stencil, and we have Ryan Koski. So Ryan is our dean that actually oversees all the programming that's going to be in this new building we're looking at putting up. And Deb Stencil is our VP that oversees all of the programs, all of the instruction, all of the faculty. And then Bobby Damrow is our vice president that is our marketing and the whole workforce and economic development, which is a very big part of everything we do here at the college. So when you open up your folder on the left-hand side, there's a PowerPoint, and I promise I'm going to go through that really quickly, but I want to highlight some things just to kind of guide our conversation, and hopefully if there's some questions, I want to be able to answer that. And please, for anybody out here, we have a few extra folders. If anybody that's here at the meeting would like one, feel free to grab that as well. So, but again, I want to begin by just thank you. Thank you for coming in, and I really appreciate the time, because Marshfield Campus is really important to us, and this may be something that, you know, in the future, if there's some annual report outs or something that you would like me to do, know that we would be very much willing to do that. So if we turn this slide, there we go. Midstate at a glance. So we are one college that has 4 campuses. A lot of people don't know that. So we have a campus in Adams, we have a campus in Marshfield, we have a campus in Stevens Point, and we have a campus in Wisconsin Rapids. And I want you to know that even though Wisconsin Rapids is maybe our largest campus, it's as equal as it is to Marshfield, to Adams, and to Stevens Point. I very much believe that. We try to bring the same programming out, the same resources, all of that. As a college, Midstate as a whole, we serve about 7,000 people a year, which is usually higher than what a lot of people think. A lot of people say, well, how does that compare to UWSP? They serve a little over 7,000. So we're really about the same size in many ways. You're going to see that here at Midstate Marshfield, we serve between 1,000 and 1,200 learners a year. And we have been up almost as high as 1,300. So I think we've been about 1,268. We do a lot with your high school, and you'll see on this slide that we have 20 different courses that we actually offer, and you're going to see we save over $100,000, which I think is actually on the next slide. 76% of our graduates, this is an amazing statistic, actually will be employed within our 8-county district. So when you talk about an investment, when you talk about being a taxpayer-based institution, oh my gosh, 76% of our graduates will get a job and stay in our 8 counties. That is, the average for the system is 69% around our 16 technical colleges. So there's 16 technical colleges in the state. We all have a geographic region, and again, we serve the 8 counties. We adjust according to what our local industries need. So we can be pretty responsive. If we need to put out a new program because there's a new industry coming to town, we can very much do that. So Marshfield, you heard me mention we serve about 1,000 to 1,200 people a year. About 65% of our programs that we actually put out at the Marshfield campus are health related. That really very much mirrors what you have in your community with Wood County industry as well, that we know that healthcare is number one. You're going to see that we have some programs that are very unique to the Marshfield campus, meaning that we don't offer them at any of our other 3 campuses. So when you think of respiratory therapy, central service, surge tech, they're only offered here. So no matter where you live, you have to come to the Marshfield campus to be able to get that, and we're very proud of that. That keeps all of our local campuses very strong. About 20% of it is business, and 15% is more of that ag and manufacturing. But what we've noticed that your top 3 largest industries in the Marshfield area, manufacturing has moved up into those top 3, where in the past it was not even in the top 5. And that's part of why we're going to do more around manufacturing. We do jail training in Wood County Jail for all of the people who need to get their high school diploma. We do that for the community as well. You're going to see that high school number that I was showing you, $115,000. So we give our curriculum to faculty in the high school if they're qualified. So if a student has an interest in accounting, and if the high school instructor is qualified to be, let's say, a part-time instructor for us, they teach our curriculum. That student not only gets high school credit, but they get college credit at the same time. So those are resources that pathway to wherever that student may go. If you've been by our campus lately, hopefully you've seen that we've had some digging going on. A lot of people say, you're putting up a swimming pool. No, a new parking lot that's also going to allow us with our other parking lot to do motorcycle training. That is going to be starting soon in this area. We've heard that that's a need. We're excited about that. Really excited to have our Marshfield Fire and Rescue friend here with us, not for this presentation, you don't need to worry, but hopefully you've heard about that wonderful 10-year agreement that we have put together with them to really, again, keep training local, and so just thank you for that. Thank you for that partnership. But we just continue to do more what we can in agriculture. You maybe have seen our large cow that we have, that is a simulator. That would be Millie. And Millie had 2 twins, Minnie and Molly. And so things that we're going to have at Dairy Fest and in the parades and all of those things. We also had a Marshfield student name our mascot, Grit, because we're bringing back all that fun stuff. And your own Melody Gardens actually was the originator of Midstate has its own ice cream now, which is called a Cougar Cranberry Swirl, which everybody's loving. We have a lot of things, a lot of collaborations going on out of our Marshfield campus, which is really what that next slide is talking about. Highly engaged with Mackey. We've been involved in the C2 makerspace over at UWSP. We worked with the fire department to put together a high school fire academy. Just a lot of things that we very much are engaged in, which I hope you're proud of, because that's what we should be doing. So I have been the president of Midstate. It's going to be 5 years. And when I came in, I did a lot of listening sessions, both in the community and from the employers. We also established some listening sessions and meetings, advisory meetings, to kind of really hear, like, what's Midstate doing well at, what are we not doing so well at, and how can we improve? And there was some things that just kept coming up. Things such as, this whole workforce shortage that everybody's talking about. People were telling us that we had the right programs, maybe at some campuses, but some other campuses we were missing the boat. Some said we didn't even have the right program for the whole 8-county district. They also said that a lot of high school graduates were leaving our district for training because we didn't have the right programs. And that's a real problem, because when you think of our employers, they need every high school graduate they can get. We were able to assess that. We were losing 250 people from our district that would go to training outside of our 8 counties. And guess what? Those employers, they grab them, don't they? That's a problem. So it made us really look at what are we offering at all 4 campuses. And so we also found that when we looked at certain industries, they're going to have a higher workforce shortage than others. And so we really came up with our conclusion, which is the next slide, that if I had one slide that really summarized my whole proposal, is how we need to try really serve the #1 industry across our 8 counties, and that's manufacturing. And we need to do that at all of our local campuses, along with trying to put more of the advanced training under one roof. And when we look to see, gosh, where would that one roof be? It made sense to put it in the Stevens Point area, just like we put our healthcare simulation center in Wisconsin Rapids, and just like how we only have respiratory therapy here in Marshfield. We're very strategic about that. So in the middle of that slide, you see something called the Destination Training Center. We're calling that the AMETA Center. It's the Advanced Manufacturing, Engineering, Technology, and Apprenticeship Center. Phew, say that 3 times, right? So we are just coining it the AMETA Center. So we took a risk and said, you know what, we need to do this. What's it going to cost? I'm going to tell you it was a $9 million project. And some people will probably say, are you really going to be able to raise that kind of money in central Wisconsin? Well, when you believe in something so much, you take that risk. And I'm going to tell you, I'm standing before you today with $10 million in the bank. Was not counting on the increased construction costs, so we have a little bit of gap yet. But we're really proud of that, and we'll break that down. But what's even more exciting, that's the first domino, but there's going to be another domino. And the domino will be if we can get some increased funding, where we've put out we're in some grants here, we don't know. But you're going to see at the Marshfield campus, we want to really expand what we're doing in the current lab that we have. And we want to bring more of the fabrication really to the Marshfield campus. And we think that is very needed, and also really an expansion around welding. You're going to see in Stevens Point, we've got a downtown campus, but this is going to be that second phase of what we're doing in Stevens Point. Our Adams campus has no trade lab at all. So we would put in a small lab down there. And then in Wisconsin Rapids, since we're going to be moving some programming from that campus, we'll be moving it to the Stevens Point new AMETA Center. We'll also be doing some things there as well. And you can see, looking at the 8 counties that we serve, 3 counties we serve completely, and that would be Portage County, Wood County, and Adams County. And you will see that manufacturing is the #1 industry in Portage County and in Adams County, and it's #2 in Wood County. So it very much makes sense with what we're doing. So we worked with our faculty, we worked with a couple companies. This is a potential rendering in the middle of what this could look like. We were very fortunate that when we started talking to people in the Stevens Point area, we had the mayor connected us with a few people that had some buildings, had some land, came back to us and introduced us to a gentleman who is a mid-state graduate that I did not know at that time, and told him about what we wanted to do. And he said, you know what, I'll donate 6 acres of land. And it's in the Stevens Point Industrial Park. Those are the partners to have, everybody. And we sat down to really figure out what that would be, and it would be about a 53,000 square foot building. When we talked about where we would put it within our 8 counties, it made sense to put it there because there's been some relationships that we have built. We now have, and this is still a very best kept secret, but our students now at Midstate can stay in the UWSP dorm. So sometimes people don't choose Midstate because they want to have that full dorm experience. We now can offer that. So we wanted to make sure wherever we put this, it would be on the bus route. We also have found out recently it's on the bike route, which is even better. But it will be if you are on Highway 39 and you are headed north. And you may recall Delta Dental is building their big building on the right-hand side, and right next to them is Skyward. Or right across the road is the big blue building, and that would be Donaldson. Right behind Donaldson is a big open lot, and that's where we will be. So we will really have some Highway 39 visibility for Midstate, which will be also easy access to this building. We believe that we can pull people from around the state to come to this AMETA Center, because what that state shows, I think Midstate, one of the strengths that we have is our location. People will drive to central Wisconsin because people who live in Milwaukee don't want to drive further north than this area for a meeting, but they will drive to our region. People that are way up north, they don't want to drive further south than our region because then they think they're in Milwaukee. We have a perfect opportunity to not only keep our youth here and keep retraining our incumbent workforce, but be able to pull from other areas, just like other districts have been pulling from us, so our employers can grow, thrive, and we know that that keeps our community strong. So by doing this project, that next slide really talks about we're gonna do our part in trying to help with the workforce shortage. You maybe hear about Industry 4.0 or 5.0, that's really taking traditional practices into more of an automated world. When you have less people, your employers have to automate, and we have to be the trainer to be able to do that. Now, this project has very much became a lot, has been profiled, not only state, but now nationally. Governor Evers had put it on his top 50 list. A lot of our legislators have put it on their top 10 list. We've had support from, you'll see on the list, with WMC, the State of Wisconsin Bureau of Apprenticeship is going to have 2 offices in this building. This is more than a lab. This is a destination center, something that really all of our constituents can be really proud of. So we're going to increase our enrollments. We're going to add some new programs. $3.3 million is an annual economic boost that it's going to bring to this region, and it's going to help us be able to advance our diversity, equity, inclusion points, because when you think of those areas, manufacturing, engineering, apprenticeship, we don't have a lot of non-traditional students. We don't have a lot of women. We don't have a lot of diversity. This center is going to make sure that we can do what we can and try to be able to be more welcoming and bring those people in. What's going to be in the building? And this was where Ryan is just so excited. So we kind of brought it into the core, the categories of building the core, adding the STEM, connecting Industry 4.0. You're going to see machine tool. You're seeing fabrication. You're seeing some of our apprenticeship programs. You're going to see mechanical design as a program we're bringing back. We're working with UW Stevens Point and UW Stout. We want people to be able to start with their engineering technology degree right here local. If we can keep them local for 2 years and then they go on, they can stay working part-time. There's a lot of benefits to so much of what we're trying to do here. And we want to make sure that we have a place where we can hold a conference, where right now we really don't have that location in that area. K through 12 is really excited about this. We have 12 public school districts and 3 private. The next slides, we have all 15 signatures to say this is the right thing to do for our region. So it was 9 million when we started. You add the 20%, roughly we're saying about 11 million now. It would take it to normally about between 10.5 and 11. Where are we at as of today? So from a state statute standpoint, the college has 1.5 that we can put in towards any project every 2 years. I have a 9-member board. They have voted unanimously to give all 1.5 to this project. This is Mid-State's #1 project for our district. So that's exciting. You will see the check there. How much have we raised during COVID times? $4.2 million. This has been from getting donations from $100 all the way up to $500,000. And on the right side of your folder, we wanted to share who is all given. So you will see that there is a document there that lists everybody by county at all different levels. And you will see that right now it is at $10,068,723, with $407,000 being allotted for equipment. You will also see that we have some partners that can advocate for us, but maybe don't have that monetary piece to give us, and you'll see the other document on there are those people as well. So businesses 4.2 check. Our Governor Evers, if you saw Mid-State in the news right before Christmas, we had a Merry Christmas. So the Workforce Innovation Grants, there were over 200 written for the state. Hopefully you saw that Mid-State was awarded $9 million. Of that $9 million, we wrote for $4 million for the construction of this building and $1 million for equipment, which allowed $4 million for us to be able to pass on to other agencies in our district to support these initiatives at all the campuses. So we have wrote for money for transportation. So for Marshfield students who maybe have a hard time getting to the Stevens Point AMETA Center, we will have transportation vouchers. We're working with the WITIA, which is the Wisconsin Automotive and Truck Association, to be able to provide transportation to the AMETA Center. We will also have daycare dollars because we know that that can be a barrier as well. So we've used that other $4 million to really be able to have the support mechanisms to support people to start local and then be able to get that advanced training. So I've always said, state, can you match what we raised? Because it was really a grassroots effort and they came through for us. So I'm very proud of that. I can tell you right before I came here, We are starting to talk with the counties and the city. I was just, came from a Portage County meeting. They are taking it up with their, we'll be at their meeting in January. The city of Stevens Point has also stepped up. So right now we have a $1.3 million gap, and I'm gonna try to raise that with my team by the end of April so we can start our approvals, and hopefully we'll put a shovel in the ground in the fall. How fast can I talk, right? So let me tell you quickly. So what has the Marshfield done for us? They have done so much. And we're just starting to really meet with people here. And that's why I just thank Josh so much, because Josh came to a listening session to hear about this. But we do have the 3 industry chairs that have all stepped up to help us. As of right now, if you count kind of the rows up, there's 87 partners that have financially contributed this. This is one of those times where if someone has a $20 bill and they say, I want to give it to the manufacturing center, we're taking it because it's all about community, and it's going to take all of us to make this happen. The specific groups, though, from your area, Hastrider Industries, wow, did they step up right off the bat. So the other thing that you have on the right-hand side of your folder is a map, a blueprint of the building. And gosh, I remember when we looked at this and we didn't have one logo. And now you'll see that depending on a donation, they could have some permanent naming in the building. If you look up to the lower right-hand side, you're gonna see the Hastrider logo. They have the permanent naming to our machine tool lab. It will really be the Mid-State Hastrider Industry Machine Tool Lab. They are a gold sponsor for us. H&S Manufacturing, what an excellent company. They have came back and donated 3 different times to us, because they keep hearing what good work we're doing and they keep adding. I can't speak more highly of them. And your banks, Associated Bank, your Simplicity Credit Union, exceptional people. JBT, which is right outside your area, just came on board as well, along with Prevail Bank. Mackey, they have been alongside us through the whole process. Masonite, oh my gosh, we're excited about the opportunity of what they could do for this building. And just the Wisconsin potato and vegetable growers, you will see that they are in the building, but then over on the right-hand side, you see all these company names. What they did is they gave a $50,000 donation and said, you know what, we're gonna challenge our membership to raise the other $50,000, and they're almost there through all these other members that are on the right-hand side. So talk about a grassroots effort. This is really a time where state, private, and now municipalities are coming together to really help make this be a reality. Here's some pictures. So this was when we had Governor Evers at our campus just right before the holidays. Kind of breaks down the $4 million for this project for construction, $1 million for the equipment, $4 million for those other agencies that I mentioned. They're all there. What's really nice about this grant is there's also money for tuition. So people who want to go into these programs, tuition will not be a barrier for, which is really exciting. And of those 12 grants that Governor Evers gave out, he personally awarded 5 of them. We were in the top 5, everybody, because they came to our college. So we not only wrote a state grant, but we're also in the running for a federal grant. We are the only grant in the state of Wisconsin that made it through round 1. We are on to round 2. We are submitting. If we get that money, that's going to allow us to do all those bubbles that you saw on that first slide. Can we add on to Marshfield? Yes. Can we add on to Adams? Yes. Can we enhance Wisconsin Rapids? Yes. And can we make AMETA everything that it can be? Yes. So it's pretty exciting. We're submitting our second packet of information, has to be submitted in March. We're hoping to hear something by September, but I really need to call out the Wisconsin Paper Council. They are working with us on this grant. UWSP is on this grant. You'll see the Wisconsin DNR. You'll see the Great Lakes Timber, and so forth. We have a lot of partners on this grant. We have written for $80 million. There were many grants that were submitted from the state of Wisconsin to the federal level. This would be the Build Back Better money that you hear of. We're the only grant that made it through the first round. They named 60 finalists. They're going to take those 60 finalists down to 20 to 30. Any advocacy that you can help us with, please do. We may be asking for some additional letters of support. But I think, I'll be honest with you, I think we got a good shot. Because when you have 87 partners, it shows that we have skin in the game. So timeline again, just an exciting time to be at Mid-State. I think it's an exciting time for our 8 counties. We have a lot going on. Again, the hope would be that we would put a shovel in the ground in fall. If we can secure that additional 1.3 million, which I'm very optimistic we will do, which would mean again, fall 2023. I can tell you that if the federal money comes through, we have our designs that we're working on right now for other campuses. We would do those other bubbles to follow the following year. Summary, this is the right thing for our mid-state district, for our employers. I can't tell you how many companies say, I want to move to automation, but I don't know how to do it. We're going to be able to help them with that, because as education, we need to be the leader for many of those things. Or they have to send their people out of state or down to the Milwaukees to be able to get the training, and that should not be. We should be able to do that. And that's really just responding to the community. So City of Marshfield, how can you help us? It's really around advocacy for this program, but we wanted you to know about it because you're going to hear more and more about this. You are our second largest city in our 8-county district. So if there's any support financially that you can do anywhere from $500 on up, we would love it. There's a lot of different opportunities there, but we just are so appreciative of what you're all doing just to serve the Marshfield area. But again, we wanted to ask, because I know the city of Stevens Point has very much put out that challenge. I'm going to be meeting with the city of Wisconsin Rapids as well. We'd love to add your list onto a partnership in whatever that may be. If it's a support letter, we would love it. Wow, how long did I go? Hopefully I didn't go too long, Josh. Did I do okay? Do you have any questions? Hopefully you walk away tonight or get in your car and you say, wow, there's a lot of good stuff going on. But I've got Ryan, I have Deb, I have Bobby. Any questions you got for me?
Anyone have questions?
Excuse me?
I was just asking if anyone has questions, because I can see up here on the computer if they have questions.
Sure.
I don't see any. Thank you for your
You're welcome.
presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, hopefully we can invite you for some of that groundbreaking when we do it here in Marshfield, right?
Great. We look forward to it.
Thank you.
Item L is a request to hold special council meeting on Tuesday, January 25th at 5:00 p.m. to review a study of a possible shared site between the city and Wood County, presented by Steve Barr, City Administrator. Steve.
Thank you. Some of you may remember it was 6 months ago, back in July of 2021, when Dan Connect brought forward to the Board of Public Works, and it was ultimately approved by the council as well, to work with a consultant, Barry Entos, on a possibility of a shared site between the city and Wood County. The property is down there on South Galvin. Barry Entos has been working with city and county officials. There have been meetings held, and there's some real interesting possibilities that are coming from this. They've got 3 options, and they've taken a look at the pros and cons of each, and they would involve different levels of integration between the city and the county. You know, we've been talking about here at the city level for a while. Can we possibly move the garage out of downtown Marshfield? So what we want to do is have a special meeting at 5:00, 2 weeks from tonight, Tuesday, January 25th, right here, with the council, and have Wood County highway officials invited as well. And Representative from Barry Entos will be presenting the results of that study and entertaining questions from the county and city officials who were present as to what the options are and where that might go. So I'd like to get your approval for that meeting. The regular council meeting would then start at 6:00. There'll be a 5-minute or so break in between the 2 meetings before we continue with our regular business. So I need a motion to approve scheduling that special meeting for Tuesday, January 25th at 5 p.m.
Mr. Fisher, your motion.
Motion to approve special meeting.
Okay, we have a second from Mr. Butke. And Mrs. Speros, did you have a comment? Or?
No, he answered it. I was
Okay.
wondering if it was an addition to our regular meeting.
Okay. Is there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote. Yes. And that motion carries. We'll have a meeting at 5:00 on the 25th.
Thank you.
Item M is a request to appoint Wayne Schultz of 1609 West 5th Street, to the Fire and Police Commission, to complete a vacant term ending in 2024. Mr. Schultz was here and spoke at our last meeting, and he's in the audience tonight if you have any further questions. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion. Mr. Fire? Okay, we have a motion to approve Mr. Schultz and a second from Mr. Rosendich. Are there any comments or questions of either Mr. Rosendich or myself? Mr. Rosendich, Mr. Schultz or myself? I was looking at you. Seeing none, please vote. Yes. We have a tie vote, so that motion fails. I don't know where to go from here. Item N is a motion or to adjourn into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes, chapter 19.85, paragraph 1E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Specifically, acquisition of land for future development in TIF District 12, and an update on possible development project in TIF District 13, and a closed session under Wisconsin statutes, chapter 19.85, paragraph 1G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved, specifically updates on various legal matters involving the city of Marshfield. Mr. Witzel, your motion.
To adjourn to closed session, or to go into closed session.
Okay, and Mr. Wagner seconds that. You have to do a roll call vote for that? Okay, yes. Mr. Wagner, your vote. Okay, motion carries and we're in closed session. We'll take a few minutes to clear the